My name is Joyce King Ferrie, and I grew up in Minnesota, spent the first 50 years of my life there. I have been married 42 years, and we had one son. Um, my career basically, really, my entire career was in the clothing industry, both retail and wholesale. And within that, I had the opportunity not only for sales, but also to work on product development, which was great fun. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to travel to Paris. I love Paris. And we were touring the Notre Dame Cathedral. And you're inside this amazing structure, and everything in it makes you look up. And the more you look up and the more you look around the structure, for me anyway, the smaller I felt. And I thought, this is such an immense place, and I feel so incredibly insignificant. And it was beautiful. But leaving that, walking outside, it was a gorgeous sunny day, and we walked around, I think, to the west side of the cathedral. And here they have this amazing garden. And it wasn't a beautifully manicured garden, more like a wild garden filled with flowers and butterflies and birds and bees and bird houses. And I bet I stood there for an hour just observing and watching the people, their expressions as they'd come out of the cathedral and come into this garden. And it was like, that kind of an experience. And so I took my camera out. I don't think it was an iPhone at the time, probably my SLR, and I just started snapping all of these photos. And so from that, I get home and I put the photos in the album and don't look at them for a while. And all of a sudden it was like, there's a piece. This is what it's going to be. So there's a print on demand company that I use, and I collage so many of my photographs onto what would become a yard of fabric, sent that into the print on demand company. When that fabric came back with all the photos printed on it, I then proceeded to cut it all up, little pieces, big pieces. The piece was originally going to be quite a bit larger, but the more I worked on it, the smaller I felt it needed to be. And so that's how it came to be. I was so inspired by the change in how I felt coming out of the cathedral and going into the garden. And I thought, this is where we need to go. I hope they walk away with um, a smile on their face. I hope that they feel joy in their heart, because that's what I felt as I was working on this piece. It was just light and happy. And of course, hopefully they'd come away with, how did she do that? What is all of that? Biggest challenge is self-doubt, and I don't think I'm alone in that area. I have an idea in mind, and I start working on it, and it's not turning out anywhere near what I had hoped for. And how I work to overcome that is I go back and look at finished pieces that I have, finished pieces where I was able to say, okay, here's my plan. That's just the base outline. I don't care if the final product looks anything like that. So I go back to those pieces where I was able to just let the process go and happen naturally. I look at those pieces where I did that and was also willing to go back and say, I do not like what I did yesterday at all. Be willing to rip it out and start again. So I look at my process that I've used on my favorite pieces, and it was just more, let it be. See what happens today. I think, actually, I know what it's always hard to call myself an artist. I don't think I'm alone in that. But what it means to me is growth. Growth in learning of new techniques, growth in learning to accept what the outcome is, growth in learning about the art world. As I mentioned before, I'm not a trained artist. So all of these words and all of the details of what happens in a show in a gallery or a museum, all of that was new to me. So it's growth and learning a whole new, really, industry for me. And I think the biggest thing is growth in personal relationships. That has been absolutely amazing. In this world of fiber art, I cannot begin to say how many incredible people I've met. So warm, so friendly, so willing to share their knowledge. So all of those areas of growth, that's what it means to me. Jump in. um, jump in. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. If if you're having trouble finding um, your passion, if you're having trouble finding what it is you want to show or work on or represent, just take classes and read magazines and then just dive in. I think the thing I wish I would have been told was experiment and play. Don't think that everything has to come out with a finished product. Just experiment. And remember that this is supposed to be fun. And if something isn't fun, then walk away from it.